For any parent worried about bringing their child up vegan, don't be. Simply arm yourself with this book, Becoming Vegan by Davis and Melina. There's a complete reference guide to plant-based nutrition. It's got vitamin, mineral and essential fatty acid needs for children by age. It's got the needs for pregnancy and lactation, and it shows you exactly how to do it, all on a vegan diet. Jon Venus has quit being vegan. I don't think anyone is too surprised. I don't make this video to bash him, but I am understandably horrified that he's going to be paying for animals to be abused. I feel that his announcement video was a bunch of weak excuses. However, I don't want people to watch that and be swayed, so I merely seek to redress the balance.
The best way to start this is talking about when this whole question mark started coming into my life. I think this is a good way to start. So 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, I became a dad, a father. And when I'm not going to speak for every parent out there, but for me especially, when I became a dad, and even before when we were pregnant, a lot of, responsibility came into my life.
I totally get that. He feels responsible for his child. He wants the best for his child, and obviously he doesn't want to harm him. Were it me, I would want my child ideally to have a natural birth, to be breastfed until such time as they can move on to a whole foods plant-based diet, and I would for sure want the mother to be whole foods plant-based throughout the pregnancy. We know that the higher the serum LDL of the mother, the more likely that the fetus or unborn baby will have fatty lesions, the bedrock of atherosclerosis in their aorta. That's right, folks, the #1 cause of death in humans starts in the womb, predicated on whether or not your mum eats animal products or processed junk.
And I think we can all agree, or people who have looked into the scientific literature, we can agree that nutrition itself is a very confusing and not really understood topic.
It's only confusing because there are so many people not in the know that follow any old idiot that doesn't understand fully how the science works. They infer garbage conclusions but state them with so much certitude that a small percentage of the uneducated masses will believe them. It is well understood by some though, the plant-based doctors are treating and reversing some of our deadliest diseases. There is no diet containing animal products that is similarly proved to prevent 14 of the 15 leading causes of death, treat most and reverse 5, including heart disease, our top killer.
You take a study and you use that study to come to a conclusion, but then another person with a whole another opinion will take that same exact study and come to the opposite conclusion to someone else.
Which studies would they be? As it stands, I don't agree with this. Some citations would be useful. Here is an example of a study by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn clinically proving reversal of heart disease in all but one of his patients who stuck to a whole foods plant-based diet. There is photographic angiogram evidence. How are you going to argue against its efficacy? You can't. And you certainly can't argue that all but one of the patients died.
A lot of times when you're vegan, especially for me, you are in this bubble. You are in the mindset of, we are doing something that is ethical. We're doing this because it feels right in every single way.
I can't speak for anyone else, but I didn't start eating a whole foods plant-based diet because I was worried about some animals that I'd never met before. I started eating it after months of research and realizing that likely if I continue, I would be the orchestrator of my own death, like 75% or so of my fellow Westerners who succumb to the diseases of affluence from eating animals and processed junk food.
Because this is my perspective, we're only going to listen to other people with the same perspective that have the same mission to eliminate animal suffering, to live a plant-based lifestyle, a vegan diet.
Okay, I totally get what he's saying, and I do agree. As humans, it's hard to remain objective and we do develop biases. That doesn't change the fact that animal products are horrible for our health though, and contain no essential nutrients that are not better sourced elsewhere.
For the vast majority of the time that I was vegan, I really actually believed that it was optimal for human health because that is what we're being sold. Big organizations like the American Dietetics Association.
I had a look at this association and they are far from having a vegan agenda. The first article I came across on the site says that it's unhealthy to avoid eating fish and even recommends that parents take their children fishing. While they all state that a vegan diet properly planned is fine for anyone at any stage of life, none of the biggies are saying that veganism is optimal. This is a red herring and an excuse.
After looking into the Dietetics Association, corporate ties.
What corporate ties? There is no big broccoli. Junk food companies and massive animal agriculture giants like Tyson Foods have huge budgets with which to sway nutrition associations. So this is in fact an own goal by Jon and a reason not to eat anything else except whole plant foods. I don't know if they have any ties to vegan junk food companies, but nobody is claiming those to be healthful.
Looking at the science for, children especially, because this is the reason why I started questioning everything. There is extremely little science, and I am not convinced at all by the science that is used to support those claims.
Why not? Here are the nutritional RDAs for children by age. All of them can be supplied without the need to eat harmful animal products. I always say this to ex-vegans and anti-vegans: name the essential nutrient or nutrients that can only be sourced from animal flesh or secretions. I've been asking this for years. Nobody has come up with an answer. Not a correct one anyway.
And I strongly believe that we cannot, say for certain that one thing, something like the vegan diet, 100% vegan diet, is going to be optimal for kids.
While there is somewhat of a lack of very long-term data on specific eating modalities, we can infer a lot from the data that we do have. My question would be as follows. We know that we can get all the essential nutrients we need without adding in harmful animal products. And we know that a whole foods plant-based diet, as I said, prevents 14 of the 15 leading causes of death and reverses 5, including our top killer. Why on earth would that not be your default diet until another eating pattern is proven to be even healthier?
We're all trying to come from a place of compassion and love and trying to make the world a better place.
How can that be done while paying for murder and environmental devastation?
This is not something that I, as a parent, as a father, am comfortable with doing. I'm not comfortable of dismissing, hundreds of thousands of years or even millions of years of a certain, eating pattern, and instead do something that requires supplementation to make possible, like B12.
Almost 2/5 of Americans, mostly animal eaters, are reckoned to be B12 deficient. The vast majority of the B12 they are getting is from a supplement given to the farmed animals. I will take my supplement directly, bypassing the need to develop heart disease. The rest of the essential nutrients either come from the sun, directly from plants, or can be made by us from plant precursors.
Because, again, I used to think that you can get B12 from the soil and water, and that there is no scientific evidence for that to be true.
Question: why do farmed animals in sheds need to be supplemented with vitamin B12? Answer: because it very obviously is in their natural environment.
I have had some question marks because of personal experiences, because of my real life observations and nutrient deficiencies in people that are very, very close to me.
Then they should have eaten healthier. It is my observation that the vast majority of vegans like to eat crap like ice cream, pizza and mock meats too much. Eat a calorically adequate, balanced whole foods plant-based diet, supplemented with B12 and in the winter months D3, and there is no need to eat anybody.
If I don't feel comfortable with my kid being vegan, I cannot continue that lifestyle myself.
Yeah, you could. This is an excuse, pure and simple. My parents told me never to smoke, yet they smoked themselves. And smoking is unhealthy. A whole foods plant-based diet is the opposite.
I was always, 100% certain that this was the healthiest diet for human beings, because I was coaching a lot of people, and I still will be coaching vegans and helping vegans to thrive.
I doubt that many vegans will be wanting to give Jon their money now, knowing what he'll be funding with it.
I'm always coaching people and helping them transform their health and lives and getting better from chronic disease and all kinds of issues. And that just fed and confirmed my belief that the vegan diet is the optimal, the healthiest diet ever, right?
For the longest time, I was PTing both vegans and non-vegans. Both groups were getting bigger, stronger, faster, leaner. But the vegan group was reversing all kinds of physical and mental disease along with it. It's pretty obvious which is the healthier diet.
But of course, this is not a long-term study. This is a intervention, a short-term intervention by coaching and by switching up their nutrition and fitness routines, lifestyle factors that play a role as well. So, you know, I cannot be certain of the long-term implications of the diet. Just because it works extremely well and helps reverse disease in the short term, it doesn't really translate into what happens and what the limitations are long term.
Okay, but show me the evidence where long-term vegans eating a healthy diet containing all essential nutrients run into any issues. You can't, because there is none. That said, why would you eat a diet long-term that is proven to fuel the leading causes of death in people? This makes no sense.
People have, like, friends have kind of divorced themselves from me and like not wanting to have anything to do with me anymore.
Well, no. I'm sure that this is hard for non-vegans to get their heads around, as their circle of compassion is arbitrarily small. But what I would say is, would you be comfortable to hang around with someone that eats, say, cats and dogs? You certainly wouldn't want to leave them alone in the living room with your pets. What do you go to put the kettle on? Hey. And
this is like people who I have, or I thought were really good friends, and other friends, really very close friends, who said, you know, that that they respect my choice and everything like that.
I personally cannot believe that any serious vegan could respect someone for funding animal abuse.
But they can't be seen with me publicly because that is bad for their image, because the vegan movement is so toxic and so judgmental.
Every single vegan is toxic and judgmental? I am not a fan of blanket statements. We are all individuals. There is certainly a degree of judging going on. There is in every community. We judge racists, we judge homophobes, we judge rapists, we judge murderers. Judging is part of the human condition, and oftentimes it's warranted. Now click this.